Okay, greetings class. We're starting where we left off. We're still building queries. We're on step 7 or question number 7 in the textbook on page 199. In this instance, it wants us to find all the cities that do not have zip codes listed. It wants us to use the 2G student table. So we're going to go ahead and close this out. We're going to click on this table. We're going to create a query in design view. The query is for the 2G table. It wants us to display all the fields in order, and it wants us to find all the cities that don't have zip codes listed. So I'm just clicking here. I'm going in order, right? Student ID, first name, last name, right? Next one should be address. Next one should be city. We're doing state now. And then the postal code, we want to know ones that are not there, right? That there's nothing listed. So we're going to use the terms is null, right? Meaning it's not entered at all. Okay, so next we're going to close the query. It tells us it wants us to name it first name, last name, 2G missing postcode query. I'm going to say yes. Say first name, last name, 2G missing postal code query, and okay. So let's go ahead and run our query, make sure it works. So these are the cities that do not have zip codes listed. Okay, so we're going to do number 8. Number 8 is pretty complex. There's a lot of elements in that. So let's go ahead and begin with that. The first thing it wants us to do, it wants us to create a query with both tables, right? It wants us to use both tables, and I just held the shift button and I clicked the other one. I'm adding both tables. I close it. And let's look at the parameters that it wants us to use. And so it wants us to use the parameters of scholarship name, right? And it wants the scholarship name, it wants it in ascending order. It also wants us to pick that table. So first we'll do first table. I selected the scholarship table, scholarship name. Next we're going to do first name, last name. So for this one, I'm just going to keep using the one table. I'm using the scholarship table. Last name. First, we have to pick the table. We want to make sure that we're continuing to pick the scholarship table. Correction, that would be the students table. Okay, so we have scholarship name, first name, last name. We want the amount. That should be in the scholarship table. So we just have to juggle through our tables and look which ones that we're using, right? First name, last name is in the student table. The scholarship name and the scholarship amount is in the scholarship table. Okay, so then it wants us to create two fields. And in that field, one of them wants us to create is the board donation. And it says to us that the amount, oops, let's get that correctly. It says that the amount is 50% added to the scholarship amount. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that formula in here. We're going to take the amount field and we're going to multiply that by 50%. I don't believe I did my end bracket. There we go. So we keep getting this error. The expression you entered contains an invalid syntax. So I wanted to make sure you understand what this error is and what's happening so that when you do this, you could quickly fix it. The reason why we're getting this error is because the board donation field that we're entering does not have a colon after it to then put the formula, right? So we want to make sure that there's a colon there. See, now we're allowed to enter that field and move on. Now we have a total donation field that we're putting into place. In the total donation field, and remember what we have to put here is that colon, right? We have to put, it's going to be the amount plus the board donation, right? And the board donation is that field that we just created, right? We're going to display that as well. It also wants us to change the currency. So we just right click in here, go to properties. We're going to make sure that our format is in currency. Oops. Yep. Right. And that's it. So same here. We're going to make sure our format, and I clicked that out. So I could have just clicked over. Our format is in currency. There's a couple ways you can get to that, right? You can just quickly click on property sheet to get that box up, but we want our output to be in currency. So we're going to go ahead and close it. It tells us to name it last name, first name, 2G board donation query. And it has a whole bunch of words about what happens to the scholarship name of Amanda Schneider Foundation scholarship. All it's asking us to do is to check our work and saying it should be 375. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to save the query, last name, first name, 2G board donation query. So as you can see, that went in both, right? It went in the 2G table, right? We have a board donation, and then it went into the scholarship because we're using both tables to do this query. So let's go ahead and run our query. Okay. And let's check our work. Okay, so I'm checking the work here, and what I'm getting is I don't have Amanda Schneider Foundation up on top. So I've done something wrong. I'm going to go back. I'm going to modify the query. And to do that, I just right click on the query that I'm editing, go to design view, and I don't have a sort in ascending order, which was one of the steps in that. So I'll click on sort in order, okay, close it, run my query, and there it is up top. And it tells me that my total donation should be $375, right? Because I've got an amount, and then I've got a board donation that's from that amount, right? They're giving 50% for a total donation of $375. So I did do that step correct. I just didn't add that ascending order. We'll go to the next step. Okay. So next we're doing step 9. That's where we left off. We're going to make a query, and that query is going to be a query based on the amount by major. So for example, if we have a history major, how much, and by scholarship fund, how much money are we overall getting? So we'll go ahead and we'll make the query now. It's going to be on the 2G scholarship table. So we'll just click on that table. We'll create our query. Oops, create query and design view. 2G scholarship. We're going to go ahead, and the fields we're going to use are scholarship name, amount, and major. So we're going to do scholarship name, we're going to do amount, and we're going to do major. And basically what we want to do here is we want to be able, or we want to display it in ascending order. We want to be able to type the major in, and then it comes up with how much money by scholarship by major has occurred. We also want to change the amount to show one decimal. So decimal places, or it says 0 to decimals. Okay, we're going to go close the query. It wants us to name it last name, first name, 2G amount by major query. I'm going to close that. So now when we run our query to check, it tells us to enter history. There should be overall 1850. So if we add that up, the total would be 1850, right? Okay, folks, just a quick correction. The query that I just did was by parameter major. So we're going to go ahead and close that query and rename it to, and this is actually number 11. Okay, where I'm entering a parameter such as history, and it's pulling up all the history. So we're going to go back and do number 9. I apologize about that, and which is by sum. So we're going to work off the table for scholarships, right? So we're going to go to that table. We're going to create a query, and this query is a little bit more simple. We're just using 2 fields. We're going to use major and amount. So major here, amount here. And then we're going to use a group by feature. So we want a group by field to be up here. So I click on there, and I add a group by for totals. In this case, we're grouping by the sum. And we're going to group by that sum in descending order. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and that's it for step 9. I'll go ahead and close it. And then we're going to name that one last name, first name, 2G major, amount by major. Oops. So the other one I did, basically you entered a parameter, right? You entered history, and that came up. In this one, you just double click and it should have the total amount by major. Okay, so that was step 9 and 11. We have steps 10 and 12 left to do, and that'll be on part 3 of this video. Thanks.